Hello and welcome back. And today on the Scotland Rugby League channel, I'm joined by a very special guest. It's a former Penrith Panther, North Queensland Cowboy, a St Helens League winner, and also a former Hull KR and Scotland Rugby League player. It's Lachlan Coote. How are you, Lachlan?
Hey, g'day, mate. I'm good. Going well. Thanks for having me on.
No, thank you very much for joining me. And of course, as people will already know, you've recently retired from rugby league, so we thought it'd just be a good chance to catch up and have a look at the time you represented Scotland and what that meant to you and your rugby league career as a whole, and how that can help grow the game and inspire the next generation of fullbacks like Lachlan Coote.
Nah, looking forward to it, mate. Looking forward to going down memory lane. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
let's do it.
So obviously, starting your career, you're a Penrith Panther, and people might have seen you on recently on the Out of Your League podcast. But what was that start to your career like, and being in the NRL and at Penrith where you came up?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was my number one goal that I wanted to achieve from a really young age. Loved rugby league. Started playing it from when I was 8 years old, and that was all I wanted to do. I had some older brothers that played rugby league as well. Sort of wanted to follow in their footsteps, and I never knew where the game could take me. But I just loved at the time playing with my mates and enjoying the game. But yeah, fortunately enough, I've been lucky enough to make a career out of it, and and it started with the Penrith Panthers, which was my local club, and um, I said recently on podcasts before that that was my number one goal, and I was goal setting at a young age without even really knowing what I was doing. So I had down in my year six folder there that I wrote down that I wanted to play for the Penrith Panthers, and it's pretty cool that a mate just sent it to me, a couple of weeks ago. I didn't even realise that I wrote it, but yeah, it was cool to see that.
Dreams come true, definitely. And
Mm.
I was going to ask because obviously having played for a handful of teams, that obviously being your boyhood club, is there still sort of a soft spot there? I know as a professional you can't exactly fully support a team, but is there still a soft spot there for the Panthers?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely, 100%. It was sad leaving there, but going on to bigger and better things. But that's the part of the game. People come and go, and you got to keep performing to stay at a club. But it's definitely still have a soft spot, and it was really good to see them go on and win some premierships. Wish I could have done the same thing at Penrith Panthers, but yeah, obviously wasn't the case. But yeah, it's good to see them, being up there, sitting first and second, being in the top four over the last probably what was it 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. I think you'd definitely be more than competition for someone like Dylan Edwards.
Yeah, 100%. No, he's been quality for them, quality fullback.
Yeah, exactly. And was it always the goal to play fullback, or did it just sort of end up that that became your natural position?
Yeah, just I played fullback through pretty much my whole junior career, and a little bit of like 5'8" as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, going between them through the positions. But I think once making sort of rep teams was always about playing fullback. I enjoyed that position. I enjoyed the freedom of it, and being able to sort of just run around and support players. I think that was my my trait in being a fullback. I didn't have the
definitely.
ability to sort of. Um, I probably wasn't the most natural talker in terms of setting up plays and stuff. I loved when I had that general around me, sort of setting up things, and then I could just play off the cuff. So that was what I enjoyed about fullback.
Definitely. And then on to North Queensland Cowboys, where success came for you, NRL Premiership for you at the Cowboys and playing along some of the greats. So, what was that move like? And then obviously the experience of winning a grand final.
Yeah, well, at the time, yeah, it was hard to cop leaving. leaving the team that I always wanted to play for, and you know, I think every NRL player, you have a team that you want to play for your whole career, but at the time, it doesn't always work out that way. So, and very rarely these days. So it was sad at the time and tough to take, but given the opportunity to go up to North Queensland and play with Jonathan Thurston, Matt Scott, Jason Taumalolo, Jimmy Tarmow, all those guys, was a great opportunity in itself, and it was something that I had to jump at, and grateful that it actually come up. I was actually really surprised that that opportunity was given to me. So it was really good to go up there and be alongside some great players.
Definitely. I liked when you said that a left-footed kicker in that grand final could have won you the game a bit earlier.
No way. I would have been too nervous to take that kick at that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was no better man to to do that than Jonathan Thurston. But what a great finish that was.
Definitely. And then, obviously, I know you've said that you moved the family up Townsville way, but then obviously came the big career change and across here, across to England and St Helens and more success at St Helens, winning a league, a premiership, a grand final, whatever you want to call it. But obviously that must have been a massive change for you, for your family as a career as a whole.
Yeah, it was. Me and my partner Laura, we moved up to Townsville together, and we started a family there, which was cool. Away from all our other family, which was tough, but just going back to sort of quickly in the Cowboys situation, it was great to go up there, and you never know what's going to happen, but obviously taking the opportunity and then to be able to go and win a grand final at Cowboys was an unbelievable feeling, and something that I always wanted to do as a young as a kid. Um, that was the ultimate dream, to sort of hold that trophy. And when I got the chance to do that, it's like I achieved everything I wanted to achieve in life. So
Definitely.
it was a very fortunate situation and part of a great team that which I was lucky to be a part of. So, and to experience and be a part of a team that um, won the Cowboys' first ever grand final. So
Yeah.
it's always going to be that way, and it was great to experience that for the community as well. But yeah, in saying that, went through a few highs and lows with Cowboys, and then unfortunately again. Moving on from that club in after 2018 season probably wasn't the best. In and out of the team with injuries and and playing for the Cutters as well in the Q Cup, which was unexpected. But yeah, probably form, confidence wise was all down. But and saying that, to answer the question before, going over an opportunity come up again um, obviously from St Helens, but it was great to, at the time, again, it was really hard to, a bitter pill to sort of swallow, but not knowing what was ahead, I think
Yeah.
it was hard to sort of convince the wife to to go over there as well, move away again from the family, because her parents moved up to North Queensland, built a house and settled in there, and then again I'm taking her away
Yeah.
again from her family, and at that stage um, we had we had two kids as well, so a boy and a girl, moving away from the grandparents. So yeah, that was hard again, but in saying that, uh, even I didn't know what to expect over in St Helens, and I'm just so happy and glad that I did make that decision to go to the other, or to come to the other side of the world
Mhm. Yeah.
and play there.
No, definitely. It's a massive move for anyone doing anything, but to sort of take your talents all the way away from family, like you say, and then a brand new league, and from watching, you can tell the two leagues play so differently,
Mm.
and adapting to that. I think it was Justin Holbrook as your coach when you joined St Helens. Am I right? And
Yeah.
yeah, it must have just. I know you said he was brilliant and helped you sort of regain your confidence. Like you said, it was maybe the last couple of years at North Queensland being a struggle through injuries and whatever
Mm.
else. But yeah, helping regain your confidence and become a crucial part of a pretty special side.
Yeah, 100%. And I think from day one, I sort of felt that within the group. They were a quality team, real professional club, and the players that I had around me, I knew that they were all hard workers, and that was the best thing about going into a team like that. And that's what I sort of pride myself on making sure that you know the players have trust in myself, knowing that I'm going to do my own job and make sure they don't have to worry about me doing my job. And you know that St Helens team was filled with those people, and it was good to go there and do a pre-season and realise what they're about. And there's no doubt that team definitely made me a better player, and in terms of effort wise and and being part of you know a great team that could achieve so much.
Yeah, and then obviously winning in the final with St Helens as well. How did that sort of compare to winning a NRL Premiership? Obviously, being um, from over in Australia, the NRL might have been more special to you, having, I guess, grown up and watched that. But I can only imagine the winning over here in England must have the sacrifices and everything that goes into that must have felt just as special.
Yeah, you're spot on, mate. Every grand final is special, and it doesn't matter how many you've won because it's so hard to actually achieve and get there because there's so many obviously teams trying to do the exact same thing. So yeah, every grand final, every trophy you win is really special, and obviously there's nothing like your first.
Yeah, yeah,
um, so the NRL grand final trophy was something that I grew up wanting to achieve for my whole childhood. So that was really special in itself. But then going to St Helens and going through all the adversity that I'd faced and thinking that my career was over and my ability, I thought I had played my best footy in it, and that was all behind me. So that was, you know, going through those highs and lows was really tough to get through. But then
yeah,
getting to St Helens and realizing that, um, it was only my confidence, and it was probably a coach that sort of made me feel like that, which was disappointing. And then coming to St Helens and realizing, I've still got so much more to give and so much more to achieve as well. So yeah, it was an unbelievable feeling to go to Old Trafford. What a great experience that was,
Mhm.
and with a team that um, we achieved so much throughout the year. I think we finished. I can't remember what it was, but it was like something along close to like 16 points clear of second
Yeah,
in that year, and um, yeah, it was such an amazing team to be a part of, and to go to Old Trafford to experience that with the Saints fans singing the whole way through the game, creating an unbelievable atmosphere was was an unbelievable, satisfying achievement in itself. And like I said, there's no every grand final is special, and that was
yeah.
really special in itself.
And then obviously I think you got the opportunity to stay at St Helens, but you obviously took your professionalism and took that over to Hull KR, where you've been for the last few years, and obviously another, although it's a lot more local, another career change in a way, where you're taking all this experience that you've got from being in the NRL and then with St Helens and bringing that into a brand new environment. What was that change like?
Yeah, it was tough. There's no there's no other way to say it really.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a tough change, and I think my time at Saints, I did want to be a part. The plan was with me and my wife to sort of stay at Saints for 3 years and then go home um, around around that. But as soon as I
yeah,
got to that club, I realised I could definitely stay here a lot longer.
yeah,
But then obviously, things happen within the game, and at the time had some great young fellas coming through that they wanted to really keep a hold of, and unfortunately, that's how it works. And I was the one to sort of leave when you're in a team full of great players that are performing really well. It's hard to sort of keep those teams together. So yeah, the plan was to sort of go back to Australia, and at the time, nothing was really coming up. So I was fortunate enough again that Saints offered a deal, and it was 1 year, but it was sort of like a transition sort of stage, which I thought at that time I wasn't ready to do that. I felt like I still had a lot more to give. So KR come in with a deal for a 2-year deal, and mentioned that I'd be their fullback. So, and talking to Tony Smith and all those kinds of things was awesome, to get given that opportunity again. So knowing that it was going to be a challenge, but seeing the potential that KR had was you know was, I could see that their performances were there, and I could see a team that were playing for each other, and fighting hard for each other in games, and showing up for each other. So that was something that I felt like I could go over there and help with, and help create a you know a better like not better standards, but help contribute to making it better.
yeah, definitely. And there's actually quite a large Scottish contingent at Hull KR these days. Obviously, with yourself, with uh, the likes of Kane Lynette, Sam Luckley.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I hope I'm not missing anyone else, but obviously that's quite good to see as well. At the moment, Scotland Rugby League, uh, like not having the success at the World Cup or whatnot, but
mm.
having key players in some of the top clubs in the world, and working with them sort of day in day out. That must feel quite special having some of your international teammates there.
Yeah, it was good. Kane was probably one of the reasons. Again, I went to KR, having a familiar face there. Was good, and knowing what Kano was about on the field as well. I knew he was a tough player. He was always going to show up for his teammates, and do his job. So I knew what I was sort of going into in that sense. So yeah, it's great to play alongside it. And then obviously meeting Semi as well. He's come over this year to KR, and been a good part of what we're trying to create at KR. So good addition.
Definitely, and all this has led to success for KR. Couple of weeks time, you'll be at Wembley.
Yeah, yeah, it's great to, and really stoked for the boys to give themselves a chance, and be a part of a final, which they haven't been a part of for so long. So it's good to see themselves giving themselves a chance to go out there and hopefully lift a trophy.
Yeah, definitely. That was a couple of hearty wins in a row for the last couple of weeks, and obviously Brad Schneider kicking that winning field goal. Were you there at the semi final?
Yeah, I was there, mate. Yeah, they're jumping around in the stands with all the rest of the KR fans.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, what a special moment for Brad. The last 2 weeks, he's finished a game with a 1 point. So yeah, he's been a really good addition for us, and thankful that he's been in that. He's come and done the job for us, because we've been rattled with injuries through this middle part of the season. So it's been a tough stint for us at the moment, and it was good to see something sort of go our way.
definitely. And of course, this season has probably been one of the toughest in your career. I know you've had plenty of seasons that haven't gone the way you would have liked due to injury and whatnot, like you've already mentioned. But obviously earlier in the year, announcing that at the end of the year you'd be retiring, and unfortunately, and we're all very sad to see that you've had to announce that a wee bit earlier, due to concussions and your last game. I was quite happy I got to see you playing at Magic Round.
Oh, yeah. Not for very long.
No, no, but
Lasted
yeah,
60
that
minutes or something like that it was.
and when I seen you coming off, I didn't quite realise the magnitude of what was going on,
Yeah.
but it's obviously all the new information about concussions in the game. It must have been an incredibly difficult decision. I know you've already said that was a it's the end of your career and sort of what next, but um yeah, what was that decision making process like?
Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, my time at KR hasn't been the best in terms of injuries
Yeah,
and performance wise and stuff like that, which is disappointing because I really wanted to showcase what I had and on the field, and unfortunately injuries haven't allowed me to do that. In glimpses I've performed okay, but yeah, it would have been good to play some more games and get some more games under my belt for KR.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it has been tough here. So yeah, with the process of the concussion thing, it's with all the information coming out about it now, and players that are sort of suffering from it now, is it's a scary situation to sort of think about. May possibly down the track, are these concussions going to affect me later in life? And there was after the 6-1 this year, or 5-6,
yeah,
over the space of 2 years at being at KR was definitely something that I really had to think about and consider. Finishing up early or
yeah,
finishing up at the end of the year,
mhm,
which that was the decision around. Yep, okay, I'm going to retire at the end of the year. I'm happy to walk away from the game. I've been here for KR. I've seen out my contract. I think it's time for me to sort of move on. But yeah, going like we sort of just touched on in Magic Round, going into that game and feeling really good back in the swing of things.
yeah,
Come back from a hamstring injury and feeling really confident again within myself and not worrying about the head knocks again, and then going out in Magic Round and then getting another concussion, which was disappointing. Uh, Walking off that field, knowing that I had some tough conversations to have, with her wife and with the specialist, with the medical staff, which with KR coaching staff as well. I knew they were coming, so that was hard to sort of cop. And I went away from there for the 3 weeks before making the decision of trying to go on and get all the information I could about um, what I was going to do for the future. And so went away, got some brain scans, talked to the club, talked to the specialists, and got all the information together. And I was just sort of having that sort of hope that someone or one of the specialists would say, "Oh no, you're okay to finish off the season." But in saying that, that was probably never going to happen. But yeah, just sort of having that hope that I could finish off what I started. But yeah, soon getting that news and finding out all the information and all signs pointing to the decision of the right thing to do was to walk away from the game. And that was hard to come to terms with. There was a bit of emotion around it
yeah,
between me and my wife, and obviously the kids as well, letting them know that I'm not going to run out in front of them and give them the opportunity to sort of be out in the field with me and share those sort of special moments that you want to share with in front of your family, and be be a role model for your young kids as well. So that was all, yeah, very hard to sort of cop um, and take. But
Yeah.
I think now that sort of coming to terms with it is something that I've done over the last probably month or so.
No, definitely. I can only imagine how tough that must be, devoting your life to a game, and although you were, like you said, ready to walk away at the end of the season, have it that be so close and taken away from you. Yeah, must have been devastating. But a very successful career, and
Mm.
like you said, you felt like you were getting that chance to be a role model taken away. But I'm sure I speak for a lot of people when I say that you've already become that, and you've already done that, and I'd imagine you've already done that for your family as well. So um, yeah, like I say, you had achievements in your career all the way throughout it, and a big one of these, I'd imagine, would be putting on the thistle and being a Braveheart and playing for Scotland Rugby League. So how did that come about in the first place?
Yeah, well, that's yeah. I'm so happy I had the opportunity to be able to represent Scotland and represent my grandma as well,
Yeah,
which was pretty cool. And I think, yeah, so going back to the Cowboys days when me and Kane were teammates back then. It will just sort of had come about, and I realised obviously my grandma was Scottish and stuff, and Kane had just come back from one of the World Cups. I think I'm not too sure, was it 15 or something like that?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
yeah,
Something
so
along those lines.
something like that. Yeah. So we were just mucking around and having a laugh about it, and then it popped up, and I mentioned that my grandma was Scottish, and Kano jumped on it and said, "Oh, mate, come across," and he got in touch with all the Scotland Rugby League and mentioned and threw my name in the hat. So it all got sorted and sorted out the passports and all that kind of stuff, and it was such a easy process to
Yeah,
be able to. And then we realised that the Four Nations was coming up. We I think we played it. I can't remember the actual game to be eligible for it, but we won the game to sort of get us into the Four Nations, which was cool and a great opportunity. So I put my hand in the hat to try and to come up with that
yeah.
and and play for Scotland in the Four Nations, which was such a really good trip. And in 2016,
Yeah,
yeah, which
pretty.
was yeah. Sorry, you go.
No, no, I was just going to say a pretty historic tournament that a lot of Scotland Rugby League fans will remember. Obviously, a couple of tough games against Australia and England, but the main one being that draw with New Zealand, which you still see photos and videos and whatnot of that day,
Yeah.
which. It was a historic day for Scotland Rugby League. New Zealand being one of the rugby league powerhouses in the world, and some of the
Mm.
names in that team. But equally, we had a strong team out that day. But what was uh, first of all that game like, which was pretty historic, and the tournament as a whole, although the other games were tougher.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was a really good tournament, and it was something that I really needed probably in my career at that time. We're
Yeah,
coming off the back of winning the grand final in 2015 with Cowboys, and that season going into 16 was, there was a lot of pressure around it to try and perform and back it up. But yeah, there was so much pressure that it probably got a bit overwhelming at times and a little bit frustrating as well. So it was good to go to finish off that year disappointing, but we it was still a good achievement in what we did. We were one away from playing another grand final, one game
yeah,
away from playing another grand final. So we were successful in that way. But yeah, at the same time, we wanted to achieve another GF, but it's not always the case and doesn't always work out that way.
yeah,
But yeah, there was a lot of pressure around it, and it was really good to sort of go into camp with the Scotland boys and with the coach Steve McCormack, which was it was such a good relief to sort of go there, switch off, play rugby league, but just there was no pressure around it. We're
Mhm.
going into the Four Nations as an invite, and then coming up against some quality teams as in Australia, England, and New Zealand. So we knew that there was no pressure around us to sort of perform, but at the same time, we really wanted to give it a crack. And the boys that we had in our team sort of bought into what we were doing. We were enjoying ourselves off the pitch, but also having a crack on the pitch and the training paddock as well, and that definitely showed. I think Australia blew us away in the opening round, but within that time together, we sort of got to make good combinations, build good connections within our group, and the next game against England really showed that. I
Yeah.
think we were in the game for I think pretty much the first half, and Danny Brough has a brain snap and got sent off. So
Yeah.
that really killed us because he was a really big key part of our team and why we went so well, because he was such a quality player, and the passion that he showed, we all jumped off the back of it. So um, yeah, and then obviously that score blew out a bit after him getting sent off, and we didn't really get back into the game at all. But it was good to see that we could hang in there, and I think that gave us a bit of belief that we could hang in there with some quality teams. And going into the next game against New Zealand, I think we took that into our next game, and it showed with that game that we played that we could mix it with the best.
Yeah.
At the time, I don't think New Zealand really wanted to be there because it was a cold, a cold place, and the rain was coming in sideways because the wind was so strong.
Yeah.
So it was a tough game to be in, but also we were excited to be there and know that you know we just had to get New Zealand in, at 50% because, knowing that they didn't want to be there was, that was something that we had to jump on board with and try and have a crack. And, we felt like everything was against us at that time. That, the ref was probably not giving us the best calls and stuff like that. But we hung in there and we hung in deep for each other. And that's what we sort of showed throughout that whole trip. And the connections that we held, that's what that creates, that great culture. So yeah, it was good to sort of get through that game and then ended up drawing with New Zealand, which was drawing with a quality side, and not shying away from what we had. We had some good quality players
Mm.
within our team as well who showcased their best footy, or
Yeah,
their
definitely.
rugby, I should say.
No, and it's like I say, it's gone down as probably one of the most memorable Scotland Rugby League games of all time, and obviously you were a part of that. And on the back of that, and it's unfortunately almost been like a story of your career. You've been unfortunate to miss out at playing playing in World Cups for Scotland, due to multiple reasons, I believe,
Mm,
including the most recent one, the concussion issue again. But
yeah,
um, that must have been another quite hard pill to swallow for you. But um, I'm sure you you were always backing the boys through those times. And although it's been tough times for Scotland Rugby League recently, there's definitely some shining lights coming through there.
yeah, definitely. And I think that's what it's all about. We want to build not only just Scotland but the world game in itself,
Yeah.
because I believe this rugby league deserves so much more than what we get. Like, between just playing it around England, New Zealand, and Australia, I feel like we need to build that game up a lot more, and especially within Scotland as well. I'm sure there's some quality players around Scotland that that we're that we need to get together and make rugby league stronger in that country. So, but yeah, sorry, just yeah, what was the question around?
Yeah, no, it's just like was that quite disappointing having to miss out on World Cups?
Sorry,
Because
yeah, that's what it
that's an
was. Yeah,
opportunity in itself, is playing at a World Cup is
yeah,
quite a
definitely.
special opportunity.
Yeah, and it's all around getting those quality players together to play in those World Cups. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, each World Cup that I could have been a part of in 2017, I think it might have been,
Yeah.
that I missed out on, and then yeah, the most recent one as well. So yeah, it's disappointing to miss out on through injury, because yeah, like again, it's a good environment to be in, especially around the boys and stuff as well, and sort of it's just a different. Although it's rugby league and it's the same game and everything, it's just like I said, different environment to be in, different situations, and it's something that I wish I could have been a part of. But obviously, yeah, those injuries played a part. But hopefully, in the future, that the Scots out there, the Braveheart, the more Bravehearts we get within around the Super League, and then try and chase over into Australia to try and make this Scotland rugby team a lot stronger and more competitive. It might entice more people to buy into rugby league within the country, and hopefully we can see that in the future, and not only Scotland Rugby League growing, but the world game in itself.
Yeah, definitely. I think I seen something during the week saying, "Why don't we shout from the rooftops about our game because of of how good it is?" And it just takes the right people to do so, I guess, and inspire the next generation. As I've said, it's you know, you playing fullback for Scotland. You've then got the likes of Ryan Brierley coming through now, who you've obviously gone head to head at Clubland plenty of times, but what about those sort of Scotland teammates? Obviously, like you said, Kane Lynette, you've known through your Cowboys days. You're back at Hull KR with Kane Lynette. Is there any sort of like stories, or like who did you room with during the Four Nations and stuff? Is there any sort of exciting stories from that sort of time?
I'm not the best storyteller, but yeah, it was just a good environment to be around. And like you touched on Ryan Briley as well, he's developed into a really good quality fullback. Um, so yeah, it's good to see that that we've got those good players there. We just need to get a few more together that are going to buy into it. And another thing is like getting more probably more incentives around the game, and bringing those players in to give them a reward almost for playing Scotland as well,
Yeah,
because in saying that, at the end of the day, it's a tough game, and when you're playing 30 odd games throughout the Super League or the NRL, and then to come again and back it up in the World Cup, or hopefully the Four Nations again. But I think you sort of need those incentives to try and bring those players in. So hopefully we can get a bit more around sponsorship and stuff like that are going to buy into Scotland Rugby League, and try and help grow the game, and bring those quality players in that are going to get rewarded for playing the game. Although we might have to bite the bullet and start off early with obviously not as much, because there's not much incentive around it at the moment.
yeah,
But hopefully in the future we can get to that stage where players are sort of getting rewarded for playing for their country and representing their nation. So, um,
definitely.
but yeah, like back to the stories and stuff like that. There was a few good nights out on the beers and stuff like that. So I think all the Scottish boys enjoyed it, and a quiet beer, I would say.
Yeah,
But yeah, I roomed with I think mostly throughout the trip. You and Aiken,
right,
me and
yeah,
him were rooming together. So yeah, he was a good roomie, good good roomie to be a part of, and although he'd probably come back to the room a bit late for my liking, being better already. But yeah, no, he was good quality to have around.
definitely. I think players like yourself, you and Aitken, you know, it was always seen when I started getting into rugby league more, and making the connections with Scotland, and seeing players like you and who you see playing in the NRL yourself, Ryan, Kane, Sam, whatnot, playing in the Super League, making those connections is that's almost like the first step for someone being like, oh, that's my country. That's look at them playing in the top leagues in the world. So I think
Mm,
hopefully, as much as we want to see more Scottish players coming through the ranks, it's good to make those connections with some of your favourite players in the world coming and playing for your nation. So hopefully there's more that follow in the
yeah,
likes of yours and Ewan's, Kane's, whatnot, footsteps. And there's some coming through already. Lachlan Walmsley playing at Halifax,
no,
um, whatnot. He's been pretty electric when he's played for Scotland and whatnot. So
yeah,
hopefully we keep seeing those similar sort of career paths
yeah,
and
hopefully.
into the setup. A sort of a final thing for me, or are you? I know you've been with the Hull KR squad since retirement and sticking with them, being at games like you've already said. You were there last night, I believe, were you?
With the oh yeah, sorry, at the
Yeah,
game, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
I was there
yeah.
last night, yeah.
And
Good win
then
for the boys.
obviously Wembley, I think 2 weeks today actually. So
Yeah,
are you going to be there? And you deserve to lift that trophy as much as anyone in the team, having put effort into it in the early season and still being a major part of the squad.
yeah, it would be awesome to see the boys lift the trophy and yeah, still being around in the mix with the lads and still doing some weight sessions with them, video sessions, and just helping out where I can and standing on the field with my hands behind my back like a coach, sort of pointing the finger and stuff. So yeah, no, it's been good to sort of be around it and still have still contribute in a way um, off the field and not being able to sort of run around. But um, yeah, it's been good and probably helping me really with that
Yeah,
transition to sort of not just be cut off in any way and just go your separate ways. It's sort of helping me ease into that transition away from rugby league, which has been good. But yeah, really looking forward to hanging around for a couple more weeks and going down to Wembley. Going to take the family down and support the boys and um, hopefully I get to see them lift that trophy and maybe might even hold it myself again. Hopefully,
definitely,
if
definitely.
that's the case. But yeah, I'm just stoked and really genuinely happy for the boys um, giving themselves a chance to be in a final and a chance to hopefully hold that trophy.
100%. And like you said, with that transition away from rugby, I know you've mentioned before that uh, you fancy going into property and real estate and whatnot. But
Mm.
is there a part of you that also wants to stay around the game? Obviously, your kids might come up and play the game, but any part of you want to stay around the sort of professional environment and go into something like coaching or something in the background?
Yeah, I think I've just lived through my son now. I think, mate. Nah, he's yeah. I There was definitely questions there of like what to do next and do I stay in the game um and sort of go into a coaching role. But I think for us doing so much traveling and being on contracts and moving literally obviously to the other side of the world and stuff, I think it's only fair of me to sort of go back to where we're from and or we're going to go back to Townsville and stay around family for a while now and just settle down. So for me to be able to do that was property was I've got an interest in property and property is going to allow us to do that and settle somewhere. So, but who knows down the track, I might get the bug back again and want to be around rugby league and help out and contribute because I feel like I definitely could in a way and get, put that experience and try and help out young guys in rugby league. I definitely feel like I can do that and contribute to that. But I think for now, at this stage, yeah, we're just going to try and go settle somewhere, hopefully for the next 10 years or so.
Definitely. So it sounds like a good plan, and
Mm.
I'm sure it definitely won't be the last we hear from you, and you never know, maybe one day back in the Scotland setup in some way, shape, or form, or
Scotland coach or what?
yeah, yeah, or the son coming up and playing. I don't know what eligibility would be like, obviously,
Mm.
for that, but you never know. We might see another Coote in the ranks one day. But yeah, no, thank you again so much for your time today. It's been really insightful to learn more about your career and playing for Scotland. And like I said, you've definitely been a role model for so many, and hopefully this helps to inspire that next generation as we continue to grow rugby league in Scotland. So I hope you
Yes.
enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you very much for joining me.
No, thank you very much, and I'm gonna miss being able to wear the kilt around. I've still got it at home, and then obviously um, sing "Flower of Scotland" as well. That was a really good buzz that I had singing that national anthem, and I enjoyed my time playing for Scotland, and representing that jersey and what it meant to all the Scotland people.
Perfect. No, and we all enjoyed seeing you in that jersey. So, no, like I say, thanks again for your time today. And yeah, if good luck in the future with the real estate, and we might see you in rugby league very very soon once again. And good luck at Wembley to you and the team.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Cheers.